Hey guys, back at it again here, going on strong and rolling on through with our Steve Vai album review series. And man, we're just trucking along here. We made it through the two, 80s albums, and we're already to our second 90s album. Of course, this time we're talking about 1993, Sex and Religion. And we've got, this is a very, very standout album here in Vai's discography. I mean, speaking of which, this actually, right here in the front, it just says Vai, as the band was, this is where he was trying to go with more of a band, I mean, look, we got Devin Townsend on the front here, of course, he's has had a hell of a solo career in his own right, and, has been a part of a good amount of bands over the years, very cool vocal style, so he's, Vibe picked him up. He was like 18, 19 here. So, really, really cool how he got to, got his start with Steve. And, but yeah, pretty much, even though they were kind of promoting themselves, the band Vai, on this, I kind of talked about it a little bit last time in the Passion and Warfare review at the end there. It does say Steve Vai right here. It's kind of hard to see, because of the glare, but it says Steve Vai right here on the spine. And so, and if you go to Wikipedia, it's listed under the Steve Vai catalog, and right here, Steve Vai's new project, which is so it's still, although they're kind of trying to promote themselves as Vai, I think Steve was trying to kind of see how that goes. It's a Steve Vai album still, so it's going to be counted on in here, the rankings and the reviews and all. And yeah, this is a pretty rare record to find too. I was lucky enough to, get me a solid copy with the, classic promo sticker on it from my local record guy who I, do a lot of dealings with and everything. So, super cool album cover. Looks really mystic here. You got a really, really cool shot of Steve on the back. He was going with like a dreads look at this time, kind of looking like Jesus with dreads on the back here. So really, really cool stuff going on. But yeah, with that being said, I mean, you're talking about a very, very beautifully arranged album. Of course, it says right here, produced, arranged, and engineered by Steve Vai, of course, in his home studio and all. And we also had, I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head, really, really solid bass player. And I think Terry Bozzio from, who's worked with a lot with Frank Zappa over the years and a lot with Steve over the years on drums. He does a killer job. So with that being said, we'll hop right on into this thing with this cool little intro. An Earth Dweller's Return. Kind of, Steve typically likes to kind of start his albums with like these little intro things going on. So that's kind of, pretty much what's going on here with this. Just kind of setting the tone and pretty much in a way showing like how the album's going to sound like sonically and production wise and all that, with this little cool intro that's really only a minute long. And then we enter right into like the first real song here. We're talking about Here and Now. And man, I mean, this is, you just kick it right off into gear with this speedy little riff going on from Steve, and this really, really cool, a little offbeat time signature from the drums going on here. And meanwhile, you've got freaking Devin Townsend. I mean, his voice, the best way to describe it, it's like angelic. I mean, it's just, the range on this kid is absolutely insane, even for all the way. I mean, this is his first freaking record, and he just blows me away vocally. So, it's no wonder how, why, like, he is such a success, even these days, I mean, I think he even came out with the album like a year or two ago. And he's just always got stuff going on and different projects and stuff like that going on. So, Steve obviously saw something in him enough to just pick him out of everybody, and say, I want that kid on vocals. So, and he just fits perfectly with this. And we got a really, really cool, again, kind of verse thing going on here, with a super, super melodic chorus going on here with like the, freedom time is here, and like just this really, really pretty, very, very pretty chorus going on, and then a cool fast little shreddy solo. So that really sets kind of the pace for the album, and sets the tone for it. Kind of builds right off that intro, An Earth Dweller's Return. So those two kind of go hand in hand and just really let you know how this album's going to sound and how kick-ass that production is going to be. Then we hop on in with this beautiful song, man. Oh, one of the most, and this is like one of just the hookiest damn songs. I mean, I'm telling you that I've ever heard. Talking about "In My Dreams with You," and Desmond Child. If you guys know about him, he's I mean, damn, he's been a part of so many big like hooky hits throughout the '80s and '90s, and just all around. And if you get him involved with a song, I mean, it's just gonna be a freaking melodic hook that just will get caught in your head because I mean, he's involved on I think 2 or 3 tracks in here, with this being one of them, and it's just got Desmond Child's fingerprints all over this one. So I think that it's good to give a big shout out to him because this just sounds like you can just tell. I mean, obviously Steve and the gang wrote this too, but with Desmond Child and they're helping write the thing. If you've heard songs like one of the big ones that comes to my mind is like "Reason to Live" by Kiss off their Crazy Nights album. That is like just such a big melodic, poppy, hooky song with just an incredibly melodic chorus in it with such power and such powerful lyrics, and that's really like kind of that Desmond Child style, and that is just super super prominent on this track "In My Dreams with You." We got just really really cool synth going on too during the verses and everything. In between each little riff, or in between each little verse, we get a cool little fill from Steve, and I'm telling you, man, oh, that song is one of the best damn songs off here. One of my favorite Steve Vai songs. I mean, I was blown away first time I ever heard that song, and I'm still blown away every time I listen to it with just the vocal melody, and we get this super super cool guitar solo, really really cool kind of shreddy little thing going on, and then another really really cool like breakdown that's super melodic with like the like when he's singing and like Vai doing the background part like "Baby don't wake me," and that stuff going on in the background too during those last couple of chorus. Man, just beautiful. And we even end it with like this, it's like a big fade out with which is just a perfect way to end it because you've got the chorus going on and all these vocal harmonies with Devin Townsend just singing over it and just kind of ad-libbing the thing and just tearing it down, which you'll see a lot of him just kind of ad-libbing his way through it, but it's perfect for it. So yeah, "In My Dreams with You," it's just such a beautiful song, very very cool lyrics, very sensual lyrics, everything. Love it. Then we open right up with this cool like kind of dark minor sounding little chord here for the track "Still My Bleeding Heart." Another one of just my absolute favorite Steve Vai songs of all time, man. Oh, such a cool vibe this one's got going on with the little acoustic parts during the verses, and then out of nowhere you get a time change with this really cool pre-chorus, and it enters into yet again one of those Desmond Child sounding choruses that just has such big power to it and such a big hook. The melodies are where it's at on this chorus too, like for sure. You've got them saying like "In the love of God," and like they're all just saying it, and "Still My Bleeding Heart," and man, it's just good stuff. Absolutely love this one, and this one also features one of my favorite Steve Vai guitar solos. I mean, he just tears it up, and in the background you kind of got the bass grooving and a little bit of the drums going, and Steve is just tearing it up with like this really cool. At one part of the solo, it sounds like he's like just slowly, climbing his way to the top, and then a big shriek, and you get this cool little solo melody he ends up rolling with. That's just super cool with lots of squeals and stuff. So, just an incredible track. One of my favorites out of his entire discography. Then we head on to a kind of a heady one, big heavy one here. We're talking about "Dirty Black Hole," and kind of a weird song title, but it's a heavy one. You get to hear more of like because Devin Townsend does do a little bit of screaming on here, like at the right times, because he's got that, like I described his voice earlier, a very angelic voice. But at times, man, he'll just be squealing like crazy, and it's just incredible. And this one is kind of about that really fast-paced Steve just shredding it up, and just really cool. Then we inside one with, I want to call it an instrumental, but it's kind of not, but kind of is. "Touching Tongues," and again, a very just sensual and powerful song. just one of my favorites, again, out of his discography and off this record. And the reason it's kind of an instrumental is that, it's like the reverse of a normal song. We've got the whole thing being guitar part, but then you get a big break in a vocal solo, but there's no lyrics. It's just kind of that, like, just singing, and ad-libbing, going at it, and just vocally, I mean, it's kind of hard to describe even, but it's just, man, just perfect vocal solo. And, typically you don't say that. A vocal solo, because typically the vocals are kind of leading and going along with everything. You'll get a guitar solo or a drum solo, bass solo, whatever. But this is like, again, just using the voice as a pure instrument. Screw the words, they're out the window, and it's just using the voice. Devin's using his voice as just a pure instrument and going up and down these scales and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff and hitting these insane notes. So just incredible. And again, you get some just insane playing and just such passionate playing from Steve on this thing. And with a cool little piano or synth line going on here, that also is a huge, makes this thing a huge standout. But I'll never forget hearing that vocal solo from Devin Townsend, because, the whole song had been instrumental at that point, and I was already digging it, and all of a sudden you hear, like, this big breath, and you're like, what's going on? And then, bam, you hear him just howling at it. So, really, really cool song. Then we kick on over to side 2 here with State of Grace, which is kind of, again, kind of like what an Earth Dweller's Return did for side 1. Kind of like just it introduces you to what's going on, kind of. So this, instead of this being like a prelude, like the first track was off side 1, this is more of an interlude as we're, a little bit deeper into the album. And it's really, really, like, I think he may be using a sitar here. Sounds really like an Indian thing going on. Really, really cool. And so I do really like that. Just kind of a cool little strummy thing going on here. Lots of cool harmonics in it. So that's a cool way to kind of introduce this one. Then we get kind of this funky, kind of groovy track here with Survive. Really cool lyrics in this one too, my bad. I missed a track on here. I just got the talking about it. But let's hop back over to side 1 for a second. The title track is Before Dirty Black Hole. So Sex and Religion. One of my favorites off here. I don't know how I skimmed over that. I mean, man, you talk about, this is, I think, the third one. And I can't remember exactly which or all the ones that Desmond Child had a part of. I think the title track here, Sex and Religion, was one of them. And man, it's got some really cool lyrics, like it's a tragic condition, sex and religion. Why can't I love God in my bed? Just some funny stuff, but yet really being cool as far as like the, again, the melodies. I keep mentioning those, but they're fantastic, because Steve himself is a damn good singer, so he's kind of doing some of them, obviously he doesn't have quite the range at all compared to Devin Townsend, so like they're just really flowing great together. And I love, there's this really cool breakdown that almost sounds like Scottish or something going on, really, or like Celtic kind of going on in the way it's even being sang, and then Devin just kicks into like this last little bit of screaming here, and then a blast of a solo, tearing it up with these just wacky, just the Steve Vai style. Love it. So yeah, my bad, skipped over that track. Again, don't know how, as that's one of my favorites off here, the title track, Sex and Religion. So now we'll pop back over to side 2 with track number 9, Survive. And Sex and Religion was track number 5. Okay, so it was after Still My Bleeding Heart, before Dirty Black Hole. Now we're on track number 9 here, Survive. And just such a cool, again, kind of a funky one. You hear the bass going a lot in this, kind of guiding it. And really kind of, again, just really funky sounding verses even. Enters into a really pretty chorus, or a pre-chorus really, like with like a little bit of like a, those background vocals again kicking in from Steve, really leading the way, the melody. And then you get like, like the sun in the sky, people fall, people rise, helping each other survive. So kind of like a uplifting kind of song, and just like the Animals, we need to carry on, and just really, really kind of fun lyrics, and it also, vocally flows very well. And then you get like this is one of my favorite solos off here. You hear all kinds of cool tonation and stuff going on from Steve here, in a cool little funky, he kind of keeps that funk vibe going with the solo here. like doing a cool little run down the neck, like a little blues run going on, and then just kind of running up and down that neck, and a little bit higher up on the neck. A lot of his solos are kind of down here, especially for the big emotional ones. He's a little bit up higher on the neck, doing some cool and kind of groovy stuff there. So Survive is another one of my favorites. Then we go with this really weird stuff right here, but this is one of those times where it works for me. Which again, a lot of the Steve Vai really weird, kind of funny stuff and experimental stuff. It does work for me. I'm just such a big fan. But this one, track number 10 here, Pig, is like a 3-minute weird one, and you get Devin Townsend literally squealing like a pig, and kind of a cool little riff going on, and then you hear all these voices and stuff and screaming going on, and it fades in The Road to Mount Calvary, which is a good 2-minute 35-second track, and it sounds like you hear within these two that kind of make one piece, Pig and The Road to Mount Calvary, you hear kind of like this angelic choir going on. Then it just turns dark and evil and twisted sounding. Like you hear metal clinging together, and those angelic kind of choir turns into a dark Gregorian chant, and you hear screaming and all this stuff, and it almost sounds like, to me, especially the first part of that being called Pig. It's always reminded me of The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, that game, seeing Ganon's castle, that big dark castle, and just stumbling upon that in the game. This is just what that's always reminded me of. So I kind of have a funny connection to that, because it's just, like I said, it's dark and evil. You're hearing screaming and torture, almost sounds like Devin's being tortured, the way he's crying out and all. And then that thing just kind of comes to a close, but really cool little film, little piece in here that's really strange, but definitely has its purpose on here. Then we go down to probably the heaviest one on here, Deep Down Into the Pain, and this is a good 8-minute one here too, or not two, because this is after the first 8-minute one, and you get one that follows it. But Down Deep Into the Pain, I mean, man, this one, another really, really fast-paced one, mainly during the pre-choruses and chorus, but really the verses they're a little bit slower paced than that. Really cool riff going on, and you get the pre-chorus, man. That's where you get some of the heaviest stuff possibly Steve's ever done. And because of Devin's vocals and that helped that be that heavy. I mean, Vai's playing a dark sounding riff, and then you get just straight up screaming at it from Devin. So that's super cool. And then you get that really, really fast pace chorus going on. Some of the fastest damn playing Vai's done here, especially in the solo, just shredding, showing that, hey man, I've got it, and picking super, really, really fast on here too, which, a lot of people would they hear his name, assume he's just a one-dimensional shredder. Of course, that being pretty much, I mean, I don't understand that, never have, him being super, emotional in his playing and everything, but right on this track here, he's oh, I can do that too. I'll show you I've got the speed and can shred like a madman. So he does a little bit of that in there. Then we end it with the just beautiful, beautiful ending of Rescue Me or Bury Me. And Vai actually takes this one on here and sings it. Kind of cool little intro. You hear him say take one, which is nuts to me. They use take one, and his son hit play on take one. So it's always kind of cool when he uses his son, in his albums, one way or another. And this one, it just starts with this really, really pretty acoustic, chord and piano going on here. And Vai, again, he's such a solid singer himself. I don't think he gets enough credit for, being, a damn good singer and able to handle it himself, because if you look at a shredder like Yngwie, who's had just a wide range of singers that are awesome. Well, now, nowadays he just takes it into his own hands, and I just don't think Yngwie is that good of a singer, but Steve can totally hold his own whenever he wants to sing a tune. It has a damn good voice, very clean sounding, and and he does a hell of a job here, especially with the chorus, and again, you got those background vocals just harmonizing beautifully, and then after maybe one chorus, maybe two, it's on. The piano's going, maybe a couple of strums from the acoustic, and that big synth noise going on, and he's just, it's such a slow build to just such a powerful, emotional solo. I mean, the majority of the song's an instrumental. Like I said, it's 8 minutes, 25 seconds here, and it's like, I mean, at first he's kind of starting doing it like a little bit of just little runs here, little kind of odd time signature runs that kind of just appear like little fireworks. And then like you get to the end, man, he's like, by the end of it, he's just tearing it up, shredding, doing, again, some of the fastest playing he's done, like just picking, you can hear it just, like a freaking propeller. And I love it. But it fits with what's going on too, is what's wild. He just managed to make it do it. And that's a really, really pretty, beautiful song, and just very emotional song from Steve. So there you go, guys. This is just a fantastic freaking album. One of the most underrated albums from the 90s as a whole, and just, in heavy metal, hard rock history for me, period. Because I think, especially those, like, tracks that Desmond Child had a big hand in writing, like, Still My Bleeding Heart, In My Dreams With You, and the title track, Sex and Religion. Which, again, I'm not 100% sure he had a hand in the title track, but I'm pretty damn sure he did. Those are so damn hooky. It just sounds like, man, why were those not a big radio hit? I mean, this thing, they did appear on, like, I think, Jay Leno or Letterman, some talk show playing, like, I think they were playing Still My Bleeding Heart on there. So, I mean, they were out there doing appearances and stuff and everything, but, I guess it didn't catch on to, the mass public, because, grunge and stuff was going around, like, in its prime, I guess, at this point, like, 93, so, but I feel like if this album would have came out just a couple years earlier, we would, In My Dreams With You especially would just be such a big hit, man. But yeah, just incredible album that's, for the most part, not an instrumental album at all. It's got, like, 75-80% of this album are, vocals fronted by none other than this guy right here, Devin Townsend. So yeah, this time, after this one, we've got, this whole kind of Vibe project. I guess he just they all kind of just went their own ways, pretty much, for whatever reason. I've not heard any bad blood about it or anything. They just kind of did this as a fun little project. And Steve went on to, of course, release yet another EP that was just majorly successful. Huge EP, Alien Love Secrets, that we'll be looking at next time, that dropped in 1995 and has, of course, one of his biggest songs on there, one of the most powerfully, just a powerful and emotional songs out there that we'll get to take a look at that little EP next time. So super hyped to be looking at that. I would really, really love to talk about this thing in the comments, some of you guys, and see if maybe you guys have heard this and, like, really what you guys think about, especially those really, really melodic and hooky songs, if you guys have heard those and how good you guys may think they are, or how bad you may think they are. So I'd love to chat about this album. It's just such an interesting album in Steve's discography, and, just for this time frame, early 90s and stuff. And definitely one of the albums I think that could have been just such a big one, huge one, in fact, if it was released just a couple years earlier. But with that said, yeah, guys, just like, subscribe, comment, and let's talk about this thing down there in the comments. And tune in for next time when we talk about the EP, Alien Love Secrets. Thanks.